Let's talk about ACDC. ACDC. ADCC. So when you have your opponent into this position, everything matters. My posture, my how I'm moving, like when I'm putting pressure forward. My grips, if I don't have grips, he's able to create a scramble. So it's very important to have your grips here. And the reason I double grip this way or this way is just to keep constant pressure. Remember to keep that back foot over there. Now when I feel him pressure back, that's when I make that switch. And I'm gonna turn my knee, and as I pass, I wanna keep this knee pinned. Don't focus so much on this leg. This leg is more important, because if I let go of this leg, focus on this leg, he can now hip escape and shrimp into me. Here, he cannot, right? And you see how he has a good frame on my neck? If I keep going, look what happens. I'm not gonna pass. It's gonna be very annoying. So as my hips are up, I can start looking down towards his legs. So that way that frame doesn't do much, and I walk back this way. So even if he has a fully extended frame, it does nothing. Another thing I can do is swim my head to the inside, and then use my head on his chest, and then come back, active toes, the same way. Does that make sense? So there's a lot of things you can do to make that connection, but make sure that you do the fundamentals. Control the toes, come in. Now we're in the knee cut position. I reach. As soon as I feel him give me some sort of resistance, I make a connection on the bottom knee. Cut my knee across, see where my hip is pointing, and then come back out high on my hips. And look, I can't keep walking forward because he has a really good frame. So now I can do several things. Drop my shoulder, look down, or swim my head. Right, swim my head and come back. So that way I can disrupt this frame. You're never gonna win this battle. So you have to find ways to go around the frame here or here. Right? And then notice as soon as I pass, if he tries to frame again, all right, no problem. We just start trapping his elbow, get a deeper grip on the crossface, and really focus on trapping that bottom leg, getting past his hips, and really maneuvering outside his frame. This is gonna allow you to pass with better details, more technique, than trying to bull rush and power through. And you're gonna have, more energy, you're not gassing out, you're using helping gravity and leverage. My hips are high because all my leverage has to go somewhere, right? So all that force is going towards the top of my head. So that's where you use your head to kind of maneuver. If your hips are low, you no longer have that. And now they can regroup and they can use that frame. And now when they use the frame, I'm gonna have trouble passing his guard on my knees here. I can't maneuver, so I have to come up, okay? The only thing we'll talk about, and we'll talk about it next time, is when this leg becomes flexible. So right now we're assuming it's not flexible, but let's say it is. We could go over that real quick. If I try to continue to go to my right, it's not gonna work. So again, I'm gonna have to make some sort of disconnection this way and start going back. You see how he has a frame on my shoulder? That's okay. When he has a frame on my shoulder, look, I switch my hips, like to a leg drag, and then same thing. I start outmaneuvering his frame. All right, so folding pass is a very traditional pass. It's evolved because of how we're using our grips, our head, our elbow, our knee, right? How we're walking back, we're on our active toes, pushing forward. We're really learning to maneuver our head against his frames and looking back. A very good pass, one of my favorite passes. Any questions? All right, let's get a partner, let's try it. We're gonna start from knee shield today, all right? 1, 2, 3. Okay guys, if you just saw the video, it was a technique on basic passing the knee shield. So some key points and some takeaways from knee shield. Number one, knee shield is a very common guard. A lot of people play this guard. It gives the opponent on the bottom this level of comfort when they're using knee shield. It's able to become like a stalling mechanism As someone's passing and you're tired, you bring your knee down and kind of stuff it and use it as a frame. It's one of the most annoying guards in jiu-jitsu, and quite frankly, it's super hard to pass because it's so common, because people get really good at holding positions there. As you can see, it's very, very tough. So if you're working this position, I highly, highly suggest some other key points I didn't mention in the technical video. And if you stayed this long, we're going to talk about those key points. So a lot of things to realize when you're doing this technique. As I mentioned in the video, grabbing that lapel collar is extremely important. A lot of people, for whatever reason, don't bring up this detail. Collar grip on that collar side, make sure it's the bottom collar, not the top collar. The other hand always replaces the knee that's pinning the bottom knee, as you saw. And another thing about this technique is it actually does work in no-gi and in MMA. You don't see it often though, because usually in MMA the person is flat on their back, they're not on their side because they want to threaten up kicks. They don't want to stay there. So you don't see this a lot in MMA. So that's just a quick little side note to consider. But definitely in no-gi you do see a lot of knee shield. So it is a common position. Obviously you don't have a gi, so there's no collar grip. So you would just substitute the collar grip for maybe a tricep grip, an elbow grip, or even a forearm grip. So those are some different details you can switch over for no-gi. You don't have the pant grip, so you have to cup on top of the quadricep, right over the leg, and really cup and fold down. And then your shoulder is gonna really bring the top knee down and create pressure. Some people call this a folding pass, which I can see why they call it folding pass. The more important thing though is when you're drilling this, you have to drill it often. A lot of students feel discouraged because they don't get it right away when I teach it, or maybe I saw them learn it from somewhere else. But you have to drill this often. Drill it with a partner, training partner, who's obviously not resisting, then a little bit of resistance. And then when you roll, do it on students that maybe aren't very good at this guard position. Obviously, if you try it with some high-level black belt or even a purple belt, you're going to have a lot of trouble. You're going to get discouraged. So really pick out some of the, lower ranks, and let's say you're used to passing the guard with something else. Purposely put yourself in knee shield position and go live from there. And what you'll see is you'll have more confidence because now you're doing it on someone who's resisting. Maybe it's someone you usually have a better advantage towards when you spar. But regardless, it's going to help you develop this position. The other thing also is don't think of going hard when you learn this technique. Think of being technical and time it. If you go hard and they frame hard, both of you are going to gas and waste a lot of energy. Time it. When you see them push, relax, wait for the position, wait for the timing, and then initiate the pass. The other thing is you have to have some really good mobility on the hips because you're switching the hips. You're slicing the knee across the shin rather than the leg and the lower part of the leg. And so you have to really develop your side switch with your hip. So make sure you focus on some mobility exercises that could do the hip. You could do some goblet squats. Later I'm going to show some videos and some stuff you could do, some mobility stuff for the hip. But really have flexible hips and knees for this position. Constantly keep pressure. Here's another point. Constantly keep pressure with the lapel grip and with the pant grip and with that heavy hip pressure. When he pushes you off with that knee shield, that's when you make the switch, as I mentioned in the video. Some other things I didn't mention is making sure that as you hold on to your grips and that hip comes up, that head comes down, and now you switch levels. So anytime your hip is up, there's more pressure with your upper body. Anytime your hip is down, there's less pressure with your upper body. So if your head is up, your hip should be low. If your hip is up, your head should be low. And that'll allow you to pass more technically and more efficiently. Also, don't waste time fighting frames. You're never going to win. So instead of fighting a frame, be very technical. Go around the frame. Use your head. Use your elbow. Use your shoulders. Jiu-Jitsu has evolved to a point where we have to incorporate timing. We have to incorporate strategy. We have to incorporate our whole parts of our body that will help us become more efficient, use more technique, and less cardio. Don't focus on cardio, focus on the technique. And finally, really have fun with this technique because it is a fun technique. It's very effective, and this knee shield is very common. So when you get into this position, try it on your good side and then try it on your weak side and drill it like there's no tomorrow. This is the first option. This is a very common position that you get into. And like I said, get someone that you feel pretty confident with when you roll and just drill
the crap out of it, and then start in the knee shield position. Maybe with a collar grip, maybe without a collar grip, but really, really focus on these details. If you stuck through this entire video, I hope these key points help. I hope they add another layer of learning, and I'm going to be posting more of these, these videos where I have a lot of comments on the actual techniques after I post the technique. That way we can really double down and execute more drilling, more concept-based learning, and more ideas to help you understand what you just saw, because it is a lot, and I try to put as much information as I can, but sometimes the videos don't express enough, so I want to just do some more talking. So if you can look at these key points, write them down, replay this video, look at the technique, and I hope you and your teammates can help improve your jiu-jitsu to the next level. Hope you guys enjoy.